Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're stepping into a reality that honestly feels like it's ripped right out of a sci-fi movie, but it's actually happening right outside our windows. We're talking about the world of autonomous vehicles. We're going to break down the driverless revolution, how this wild tech actually works, and, what it all means for our future.
But before we get into the nuts and bolts of it all, I want you to really think about this. Would you trust a car with literally no driver? Just picture it. You're sitting in the back seat, you look up, and the steering wheel is just turning completely on its own. You're navigating through crazy city traffic, dodging pedestrians, dealing with other unpredictable drivers. It's a fascinating tension, right? Handing over total control and your personal safety entirely to a machine.
So, let's get right into Section 1, Meet the Robotaxi.
All right, stripping away all that Hollywood hype for a second. A robotaxi is simply a fully autonomous passenger vehicle. It operates without a human driver behind the wheel, period. The coolest part here is how seamlessly they blend into our normal routines. You don't need some special license, and you don't need to go out and buy a futuristic million-dollar car. You just use the everyday rideshare apps you probably already have sitting on your phone. You summon the car, it picks you up, and boom, it transports you to your destination.
Now, to do this safely, these vehicles rely on what's called Level 4 autonomy. What that means is the technology allows the car to handle all the dynamic driving tasks entirely on its own. No human intervention needed. But there is a bit of a catch. Right now, they only operate within specified geographical areas, we call these geo-fenced zones, and under certain weather conditions. So they're completely self-sufficient, but for the time being, they're kind of restricted to these highly mapped virtual sandboxes.
Moving right along to Section 2. How do they drive?
Okay, so if there is absolutely no one behind the wheel, what on earth is actually doing the driving? Well, you can think of autonomous tech as this sort of holy trinity working in perfect harmony. We've got sensor suites, onboard AI and perception, and high-precision HD maps. To use a really simple human analogy, the sensors are the eyes of the car, the AI is the brain, and the HD maps, those serve as its memory.
Let's start with the eyes. These sensor suites are absolutely incredible pieces of hardware. Instead of just two human eyes looking forward, a robotaxi is completely decked out. It uses LiDAR, which actually shoots rapid laser pulses to measure exact distances, and that works alongside radar, high-resolution cameras, and ultrasonic sensors. By combining all these tools together, the car is continuously generating a real-time 360-degree 3D map of the world around it, and we're talking up to hundreds of meters away in every single direction. It literally sees everything around it all at once. It never blinks. It doesn't even have a blind spot.
But, just seeing raw data isn't enough, right? The vehicle has to actually understand what it's looking at. And that is where the onboard AI and perception system steps in as the brain. This thing is powered by incredibly robust computing hardware. It processes all that massive sensor data instantly. It identifies objects and essentially tells the car, hey, that's a pedestrian walking, or watch out, that's a cyclist swerving, or there's an emergency vehicle coming up behind us. It is exactly what allows the car to safely navigate totally unpredictable road hazards in real time.
Finally, we have the memory. Before a robotaxi even turns its wheels, it accesses high-precision HD maps. Now, unlike that standard GPS on your phone that just gives you a little blue line on a flat street, these are highly detailed 3D maps loaded way before the trip even starts. The car already knows the exact lane geometry, it knows where every single crosswalk is plotted, the specific heights of the curbs, the exact positions of the traffic signs, the whole shebang. It's constantly comparing its real-time eyes to its perfect memory just to ensure it knows precisely where it is in the physical world at all times.
Which brings us to Section 3, the major key players.
So who is actually building these incredibly complex machines? Well, we essentially have four major competitors right now, all racing to dominate our streets. We've got Waymo, which is backed by Alphabet, Baidu with their Apollo Go fleet, Tesla with their upcoming Cybercab, and Cruise, which is backed by General Motors. Now, they all want to win this driverless revolution for sure, but they are playing the game very differently.
There is actually a massive, fundamental technological divide in how they operate. On one side of the fence, you have Waymo, Baidu, and Cruise. They use a multi-sensor approach. That means utilizing a full suite of LiDAR, radar, and cameras for redundancy. Better safe than sorry, right? But on the other side, you have Tesla. They rely on pure vision. Their philosophy is basically, hey, since humans drive using only our eyes and our brains, autonomous cars should use only cameras and AI neural networks. They are entirely ditching the expensive LiDAR and radar.
And this divide brings us to the current, real-world reality of commercial availability. Waymo and Baidu, they are out there right now.
They're operating active, large-scale commercial driverless taxi fleets in major U.S. markets like Phoenix, San Francisco, and LA, as well as across major cities in China like Wuhan and Beijing. Meanwhile, Tesla has just unveiled their purpose-built steering wheel-free vehicles with some pretty bold ambitions for future low-cost rideshare deployment. And then there's Cruise. Following some high-profile safety incidents in late 2023, they actually paused their operations and are currently out there testing with human safety drivers to carefully rebuild their autonomous framework.
All right, let's look at Section 4, Benefits versus Real-World Challenges.
Stepping away from all the corporate hype for a minute, we really have to look at what this technology actually means for our society. As we start integrating these vehicles into our daily lives, we've got to objectively weigh the massive, world-changing potential benefits of robotaxis directly against the highly visible and honestly sometimes frustrating roadblocks they are facing on our streets today.
Let's examine those primary advantages first. First and foremost is safety. A robotaxi never gets intoxicated. It never texts while driving, it doesn't suffer from a lack of sleep, and it definitely doesn't experience aggressive road rage. By completely eliminating those fatal human errors, we have the potential to save countless lives. Next up is cost efficiency. Removing human labor fundamentally lowers the operating cost per mile over time, which could potentially make rides much cheaper for everyone. And perhaps the most powerful benefit? Accessibility. This tech provides on-demand, independent mobility for the elderly, the visually impaired, or just individuals who otherwise literally cannot drive themselves. That's a huge game changer.
However, we've got to balance that optimistic view with the reality of the current challenges. Edge cases in severe weather, things like dense fog, heavy snow, chaotic construction detours, or, let's be real, highly erratic human drivers, these remain incredibly difficult scenarios for these autonomous systems to safely process. Furthermore, there are serious logistical headaches. We've all seen those high-profile instances of autonomous vehicles unexpectedly stalling in active lanes or even blocking fire trucks and emergency responders, which obviously draws intense scrutiny. Finally, there's the massive hurdle of regulatory approval. We're talking about navigating complex, city-by-city municipal laws, totally uncharted insurance frameworks, and really rigorous safety certifications.
Which leaves us right back where we started, pondering the future of our roads. The technology is undeniably here. The cars are literally on the streets, mapping the lanes, analyzing the pedestrians, and navigating the absolute chaos of modern traffic right now. The hardware and software are actively being deployed. But the lingering, provocative question we must all ask ourselves is, are we ready? As a society, with our complex laws, our unpredictable infrastructure, and our very human anxieties, are we truly prepared to let machines take the wheel? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning the road ahead, because this revolution is just getting started, and I cannot wait to see where it takes us next.